Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness. And, who wants to talk about type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? But in our day and age, we're seeing so much more. Like, I have patients come in, they're like, hey, my doctor said I have fatty liver disease and I'm not an alcoholic. I don't even drink. And, what's interesting is one of the fixes for fatty liver disease is silymarin. I'll use silymarin on folks because it is an iron binder. And what they put in so much of our flour that we make bread with is they fortify it with iron. And what they do is they fortify it with iron filings. So some of you that have caught my podcasts on like blackheads on your skin, those are iron filings, like especially around the nose, we'll see blackheads. Those are iron filings trying to come out of your body. So the skin is literally shedding them. And what's amazing is they allow them to continue to put iron filings in our food. And so now as we've depleted our ability to even handle the iron filings, and now we have diabetes, now we have non-alcoholic fatty liver, but the liver is just wrecked by this iron filing type of situation. Because iron in a natural sense, it really chemically is now changed from a metal to an organic substance that can now be bound with proteins and be used in the body and actually acts as a cofactor or a catalyst for certain chemical reactions. Why is it so necessary? Well, when we look at the human body and we say, what's the most important mineral in the human body? If I give you just a moment, you might guess calcium or sodium or potassium, and they're all very, very important. But magnesium is the most used mineral in the human body, in charge of over 300 chemical reactions it's involved in. And if you've been with me in other podcasts where I've talked about greens, you'll remember that the reason a plant is green is because of the chlorophyll in it, and the reason chlorophyll is green is because of the magnesium core. Chlorophyll looks identical to our blood hemoglobin. And if you punch out that magnesium core that's in the center of that chlorophyll and put an iron in it, it immediately turns red and it can be used as our blood. That's how closely related we are to plants. And so that iron and magnesium are incredibly close in relationship. So magnesium is the number one mineral in the human body, but guess who's number two? Iron. And so we use iron for so many things. And viruses and bacteria use iron to replicate. Funguses do too. Iron is used by a lot of different organisms. And in order to use iron correctly in the human body, we need it in its proper form, not in iron filings like in most of our bread, cereal that we're feeding to our children, that we're eating. I mean, it's ridiculous how much is out there. And so now we have this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and we're really getting these livers that are so inflamed, so swollen, because they cannot detoxify these things enough. And so I implore you, if not another reason to slow down on grains and do very little, there's yet another one to do for our children, for us. I remember my mom begging her for sugar cereal when I was little, like any child would, because we like the way it tastes. But it ends up producing these things that are not so good. So silymarin is very, very helpful at binding that iron and getting it out of the body. Next, we would use something like a turmeric, product that would help handle that fatty liver and begin to help the liver heal. And of course, anytime you're dealing with a liver, you want to eat liver. Liver. Even if you have to chop it up into little tiny bits and throw it into a soup or a chili or something to hide it, you don't need much. And I tell people most of the time it taints food so much, you might as well just swallow it whole and just get it down. And so if you cut it in tiny pieces, swallow it whole, your digestive system will do what it needs to do. You don't need much a day. Even a half ounce of liver a day is really, really awesome. Some people are willing to do that. Liver's a little bit easier to get to because it's a big organ. I'll get an elk liver. Man, I cut that thing up. It weighs like 25 pounds or something crazy. I get a lot of liver out of it. So, I mean, there's months and months and months of the ability to eat liver over time. So again, if you're willing to do that, if you're a hunter, if you know a hunter, great. Another thing to really eliminate is high fructose corn syrup. It's a big indicator in fatty liver or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So those two things, those two insults on the liver can be so 1-2 punch to it and really produce some things. But again, the liver does heal. It just takes time. In fact, I usually see a pretty severe liver case take anywhere between 12 to 24, even 36 months to really get it dialed down. But anyways, hopefully that gives a little idea of non-alcoholic fatty liver and iron filings and how do we go about it and why is type 2 diabetes all included in there. So just a brief overview. It wasn't exhaustive, but again, questions, comments, please keep them coming in. I love to hear what you guys have to say. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach Dr. Munson at 360-893-8586 or email him at chiroman@dr.com. That's chiroman@dr.com. Check out our current workshop schedule on Facebook at Infinity Whole Health.